BookTube. Hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and in this video I'd like to accomplish a couple of things. I would first like to introduce you to the Sunshine State list for 6th to 8th grade for next school year. That would be the 2021-2022 school year. And if you have been following my channel for a while, you know that for the last several years I have been reading all 15 books from that list. Usually I don't share the list with you until I have finished reading them, and then I do a wrap-up. But this year I am a little bit less motivated to read the entire list, simply because the middle school librarian who encouraged me to read them to begin with has retired now, just officially as of the end of this school year. And so without her having book bowl and all those fun things and fun activities that we used to do regarding the list of books, I'm just not as motivated to read them. Now, it doesn't mean I don't want to. I kind of do. I always look at the list at the beginning of, whenever they announce them, and I think, oh, I don't know if I want to read those or not, because I've usually never heard of any of them. But by the time I get into the list and get to reading them, I find some new favorites. There are always books on the list that I love, and I almost always at least like almost all of them. So it has been a fun project over the years, but now that Katie's graduated from high school and Miss T has now retired from teaching and being the middle school librarian, there's not going to be a book bowl. So I still love middle grade books, and I would still like to read some, but I'm thinking of narrowing it down just a little bit and perhaps not setting the goal to read the entire list this year. I still might, but I need to sort of give myself a little bit of wiggle room. So I looked at the list and I picked one from the list that I am definitely going to read. I would like to read at least 5 of them. So I took the other 14 the other 14 names of the books, and I put them in my cup, and I'm going to draw one at random, so that makes 2. And then what I would like for your help in doing is to help me pick my summer middle grade TBR. Now, I've already done my TBR for June, and there's a couple of middle grade books on that. So I may not read any of these in June, but definitely for July and August, I would like to read at least 5 out of this list of 15. So I would like for you to watch this video and then choose 3 that you most want me to read. And I will add those all up, and the 3 books that get the most mentions or the most recommendations or requests are the 3 that I will add to my TBR. Now, if you have read any of these and you hated them, you can put that in and let me know you didn't like it, and I won't count that as a vote for the book. I will count that as a vote against. But just let me know. Now, if you would like to read any of these and you want to buddy read any one of these, definitely include those in your list of 3. Or if there's just any that you think I would like, or that you think you would like and you want to see me review them or talk about them, or you want to chat about them, then that's a good criteria for putting them down as a recommendation for me to read. So let's just get started. I have the list here, and I'm filming on my old camera so that I can put the images in. I do have 2 of them checked out from the library, but I decided not to go ahead and check them all out at this time. I have over 30 Dr. Seuss books checked out right now from the library, as well as all the stuff that I've been reading for May and a few things that I'm reading for June. So I just have so many things already checked out that I'm just going to do it this way. So the first book on the list, I believe this list goes alphabetically by title. That's generally how they do it. So the first book on the list is Cleo Porter and the Body Electric. It's by Jake Burt. I have read one other book by Jake Burt that I rated 5 stars. It was it was called Greetings to Witness Protection, and it was just a really fun book. So I am interested in this book. This is a futuristic book, but it's very current for the times. It just came out in 2020, and I suspect that the current times were a big influence on this book, because it's about a girl who lives in an apartment complex, and everyone is hermetically sealed into their apartments. They're not allowed to leave because there is a pandemic, some sort of organism that is killing everyone, and so everyone is staying in and staying safe. According to the description, she has been sent accidentally some medicine that will cure something somewhere, but because she is sealed in her apartment, she is not able to get that medicine to wherever it's actually supposed to go. And she is a surgeon in training, so she does know about medicine, and it just sounds very intriguing, very current for the times, and I think it sounds really good. Then the next book is Charlie Thorne and the Last Equation by Stuart Gibbs. I don't know anything about this, but it does sound really fun. It has some CIA spy mentions. It is about a reluctant genius who has been enlisted by the CIA to help figure out something that has to do with Einstein. And I noticed that my friend Jazz from Snazzy Reads, I noticed his review on Goodreads. He rated it 4.5 stars, and he is an actual middle school student, unless he's in high school by now. I don't even know, but he is a kid booktuber who has done some really good reviews over the years, and I will put his channel link down below. I don't know if he's done any videos lately, but he's one of my Goodreads friends, and if he rated it 4.5 stars, it must really be good. He said, though, that it is definitely good for someone who loves math. So this sounds like a lot of fun. I've been reading a lot of spy stories lately by reading the Ally Carter books, and so I'm definitely intrigued by that one. All right, so the next book is called When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jamieson and Omar Mohamed. Several of my Goodreads friends have read this or have it on their want to read list, and it does look very good. This one is about two young boys who live in a refugee camp in Kenya. And I'm intrigued by this one because it says that the younger boy is nonverbal, and of course my daughter is nonverbal, so that sort of tears my heart out. I think I might cry if I read this one. It talks about how this boy, the older one, has an opportunity to leave there and go to school, even though they've been there for 7 years, I believe it said in the description. And if he takes that opportunity, though, it's going to mean leaving his brother every day. And so it describes it as being full of heartbreak and hope and a little bit of gentle humor. It is a graphic novel, and it sounds very intriguing. So I have a feeling it would probably make me cry, and I don't know if I want to read it or not. But if you think I should read it, then definitely put it on the list. Next is the Unteachables by Gordon Korman. Well, having come from a family of educators, this one sounds wonderful to me. This is about a group of students who have just been deemed unteachable. They are the troublemakers of the school, just a lot of issues, and they have been sequestered away from the rest of the campus into this one room, room 117, and their teacher is a burned out teacher who is just a year from retiring. He has just lost all of his desire for teaching, and he just is biding his time until he can get out of there. And so it sounds like a very dynamic combination, and I'm really intrigued to read this one. I have read a few other Gordon Korman books, and I've enjoyed everything that I've read by him. So that one is definitely one that I'm interested in. The next one is Me and Banksy. Now, I've got a copy of this one here. I'm not sure what a squirrel has to do with this book, because it sounds like this is set in a school, a private school that is covered in cameras, and somebody is hijacking the cameras and taking things that really should remain private and displaying them on the school monitors, like catching someone picking their nose or just various other things. And so they're trying to figure out how this is happening, because their school is supposed to be so safe and secure, and yet someone is doing this. So that does sound very interesting. Like I said, I don't know what a squirrel has to do with it. Me and Banksy is by Tanya, Lloyd, Kai. The next one is one that I believe several of my Goodreads friends have read, and I've heard of this before. It's called The Miscalculations of Lightning Girl by Stacy McAnulty. And this is about a girl who survived a lightning strike. She was young and she doesn't remember it, but it has made her into a mathematic savant, sort of, so to speak. And this is her story about having to go now to do 1 year of middle school. She's been homeschooled up to this point, and her grandmother has told her that before she can go to college, because she's technically ready to go to college, even though she's only 12. Her grandmother wants her to spend 1 year in middle school, make one friend, join one activity, and read one book that's not a math textbook. So that sounds like a lot of fun, and I would definitely be interested in reading that one. The next one is very futuristic. It's very techie sounding. It's called Jinxed by Amy McCulloch, and basically it's about a girl who, she's been trying to get into this very elite tech school and doesn't get in. Meanwhile, she finds this lump of destroyed, it has a name, but it's basically a robot cat, I think, and it looks like it's, you know, beyond repair, and somehow she's able to repair it, bring it back to life. And so now this is the start of a series where she's got this robot cat that she named Jinx, and that's the beginning of that series. So that could be fun. You know, definitely science fiction, futuristic, very techy. The next one, it sounds kind of creepy. It's by Kenneth Oppel. It's called Bloom. And this one actually really intrigues me because I think this is just the type of creepy that I enjoy. It's about a, and it's the beginning of a series. All 3 books in the series also sound, the other 2 also sound very creepy. So this book is about rain that is carrying with it seeds that then go into the ground and grow these crazy Venus flytrap sort of plants that can swallow animals and people, and it just sounds so bizarre. And the 2 other books that I've read by Kenneth Oppel were also very bizarre, but this sounds like the most bizarre of all of them. So I'm very intrigued by this one. The next book is a sports-themed book called Bouncing Back by Scott Ostler. It's about a 13-year-old boy who is a basketball player. He was in a car accident and is now confined to a wheelchair, so he has joined a wheelchair basketball team. And it's his story of his experiences. I don't know, I don't think it's based on a true story. I'm not really sure, but it does sound like a very good feel-good story, and I am very interested in that. I don't necessarily gravitate to sports-themed books, but anything that is about a kid who is getting past adversity and just doing the best with what he has and excelling, I think is just a really good message for other kids, whether they have disabilities or not. I just think that literature like that for kids is fantastic. So I'm hoping that it's a good book, and if I get a chance to read it, I think that would be great. And then the next one is Becoming Muhammad Ali by James Patterson and Kwame Alexander. So that is quite a writing team right there. I'm not a huge James Patterson fan. I've only read a couple of books by him. I have read a few books by Kwame Alexander that I enjoyed. I understand from reading a little bit about this that this is not completely written in verse, so maybe the Kwame Alexander parts are written in verse and then the James Patterson parts are not. I don't know, but that's going to be my guess. And I think that this is really just about Cassius Clay and maybe a little bit about his childhood and growing up and how he became Muhammad Ali, and basically a middle grade biography of his life. So that sounds interesting. And the next book I'm very intrigued by. It's called Wildfire by Rodman Philbrick. And I didn't think I'd read anything by him, but I looked him up, and I read a book by him that was from the 90s called Freak the Mighty, and that was really good. So, and that's been years ago. I don't even have that on my Goodreads, but I need to add that if I can remember a little bit more about it, but I definitely remember enjoying it. So Wildfire is about a 13-year-old boy at a summer camp, and him and a friend get caught in a wildfire and have to survive and escape. So that sounds very, very good. I love action-packed stories like that. The next one is A Wish in the Dark by Christina Soontornvat. And I think a few other people on my that are Goodreads friends have read this one. It is a fantasy that is set in a Thai-inspired city, and there is some social unrest, and so it's a I think a fantasy story with some of those themes woven in with social injustices and social unrest and things like that. So that sounds very interesting. I don't know if I would put that at the top of my list, but I wouldn't be opposed to reading it. And the next one is Coop Knows the Scoop by Taryn Soders. And this one is a middle grade mystery, so that alone makes me need to read it at some point. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. It says the whole town is talking about what's buried beneath the playground. So that's probably enough said on that one, but definitely at some point I need to read that one. Maybe next year for March Mystery Madness, if not sooner. The next one is Clean Getaway by Nick Stone. I have 3 Goodreads friends who read this and rated it 5 stars, so I have no doubt that this is a good book. This is about a young boy who sort of gets roped into a road trip with his grandmother, and he is black, his grandmother is white, and his grandmother takes him on a road trip into the South. And it sounds like they are going to encounter various racial issues and things like that. And just from the descriptions and the reviews by my friends, I know that this is going to be a fantastic book. Then the very last one is also going to have some racial issues. It is historical. It's The Unsung Hero of Birdsong USA by Brenda Woods. This is set right after World War II in the Jim Crow South. It's about a young boy, 12, who is saved. He is almost going to ride into an accident on his bicycle, and he is saved by a man who is a veteran of World War II, who is black, and he has come back home to this small town where he realizes very quickly that even though he left the military with distinguished honors, he can't really advertise that. He can't let that be known because that would pose a danger to him. Even though he had military distinctions, he is still considered a second-class citizen in the Jim Crow South where he lives. And so there is a lot of racial prejudice dealt with in this book, and I think it sounds very interesting, and I love the title. So, you know, I would be very excited to read that book as well. So the book I have chosen to read it was really hard, but the one I picked it partly because I think none of you will probably pick this one for me to read, and I'm really intrigued by it, and I just think it's going to be fun. And the book that I'm going to pick that I will for sure read is Bloom by Kenneth Oppel. I have always said that, strangely enough, the kind of horror movies that I do watch, which is not a lot, but I'm drawn to movies where maybe some sort of creature or something mutates and takes over an island or a resort or something like that, something crazy, like Tremors. Tremors is one of my all-time favorite movies. I will watch that if it's on. I'm gonna watch the rest of it. And so I love stuff like that. I don't know why. It's so far removed from anything I really usually like to read about or watch, you know, any other thing, but for some reason that's what I like to watch. Not all. I love feel-good movies. You know, I'm definitely a Pollyanna, but when it comes to stuff like Tremors, I'm going to watch it. So to me, Bloom sounds like it's along those veins. So I think I would be excited to read it. Okay, so now I have my cup with the other 14 titles in it, and I'm going to draw one and see what one of the other books is that I'm going to read. I know I could do a random number generator, but I'm not good at doing that sort of thing. Okay, and it is, it's the very first one on the list. Cleo Porter, let me see the whole title, because I just wrote down abbreviations. Cleo Porter and the Body Electric by Jake Burt. So this is the one that's futuristic, and it's set in a pandemic, so perfect time to read this one. So now I want you to take a look at the rest of the books and list 3 of any of the others. You don't have to list Cleo Porter and you don't have to list Bloom, but pick 3 out of all the other 13 books that most interest you, or that you think I would like, or that you want me to read. I don't even care if you pick one and you think I wouldn't like, just to spite me. I don't know. I don't care. But whatever 3 get recommended the most, that is what I will read. And if there is a tie for third, I guess I'll have to read both of them and read 4. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I think this is going to be fun. Let me know what you think I should read, and try to do it before Friday, because I will film a Friday reads sometime on Friday, and whatever comments I have up to that point are what I will go by. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.